And again, welcome back. It's Kingdom Hearts. Let's finish this thing. We are getting very close to the end game, and as you can see here, I finally got around to making a much better gun ship, with a lot of the new parts forgotten. And you can see that the guns are a bit weird, but other than that, it's very fast and it allows you to use blaze proofing across the map. Now, I don't have any new facts, which is not necessary because we're almost to the destination now. I think the problem with the previous gun ship was it had very poor speed. It takes forever to get to the courses. You can tell that this one is much faster than the other ones. So we won't have to spend all day just watching a slow ship shoot everything in sight. I can watch a pretty speedy ship going about blazing and shooting things and eventually reaching its destination. Which I believe should be in a moment now. Yeah, anyway, the Hollow Bastion, which for our next destination, is the second to last world in the game. We are indeed getting close to the end game. About time, this thing has gone on forever. And there she is, Hollow Bastion. Ready for some plot? Now, Hollow Bastion is not based on any Disney or Square Enix IP. It is a completely original world designed for the Kingdom Hearts series. We'll get more into the backstory of Hollow Bastion and how it came to be the future games, but for now, plot.
No vessel, no help from the Heartless. So tell me, how'd you get here?
I simply believed. Nothing more to it. When our world fell into darkness, Belle was taken from me. I vowed I would find her again, no matter what the cost. I believed I would find her. So here I am. She must be here. I will have her back!
Take her if you can.
Stop!
So, you finally made it. About time. I've been waiting for you. We've always been rivals, haven't we? You've always pushed me, as I've always pushed you.
Riko!
But it all ends here. There can't be two Keyblade Masters.
What are you talking about?
Let the Keyblade choose. Its true master. Maleficent was right. You don't have what it takes to save Kairi. It's up to me. Only the Keyblade Master can open the secret door and change the world.
But that's impossible. How did this happen? I'm the one who fought my way here with the Keyblade.
You were just the delivery boy. Sorry, your part's over now. Here, go play hero with this.
Goofy, Let's go. We have to remember our mission.
Oh, well, I know the king told us to follow the key and all, but...
Slower. Slowly.
Hey, don't move! You're hurt.
Why? Why did you come here? I came to fight for Belle. And though I am on my own, I will fight. I won't leave without her. That's why I'm here.
Me too. I'm not gonna give up now. I came here to find someone very important to me.
And yep, we have no longer have access to the Keyblade, and we have to hit things with a wooden stick, which will not deal any damage to any enemies, which is, needless to say, wonderful. This means we're actually almost completely defenseless. Thankfully, we can cast magics, we can defend ourselves in some way, and hitting enemies with the stick will allow us to recharge mana. But for the most part, we'll have to rely on a new buddy, the Beast, in order to defeat the Heartless. So, yeah. And who the actual castle itself is a humongous pain in the ass, because it's so massive and so convoluted. Anyway, so here we got a new enemy. These are the Dark Balls. They're a flying enemy which has really weird movement, as he'd like to just pass around at random points, dealing damage whenever. They're not the worst enemies around here, and probably more manageable ones. They do like to just disappear at random and fly around. Anyway, so these weird things are switches of sorts. Some activate certain things, others allow you to transport around Bastion. Anywho, the Beast is basically a heavy hitter. He has pretty powerful attacks, but nothing besides. He doesn't really have any other specialities besides like aggressive attack and such. Anywho, we were just doing some exploring, trying to find any treasures to obtain. These bubbles will actually allow you to transport around to certain areas. These will take you to this little area, which isn't necessary, but allows you to... Actually, no, it might be necessary. Oh, sorry, yeah, no. Sorry, it's been a while since I actually been working on this part. We need to go here in order to activate a certain switch, since the actual main gates to the castle is locked away. The Beast is able to break down these walls, which is why we need him for this part. Although, to be fair, we have little to no choice in party members at this point, so we have to deal with them. I suppose he's better than Donald, and better than Peter Pan, but overall he's probably not one of the greatest ones, since he has very few abilities besides his damage. This area over here will at a later point become a transport point to other parts of the castle, but at the moment we can't do anything. There's also a Trinity Mark which we'll have to deal with at the later point, since we have a long journey ahead of us. A strange thing though is that you can still open treasure chests despite the fact that the treasure chest could only be opened with the Keyblade. Yeah, go figure. Anywho, this part is a bitch because you have these various witches which you need to release instead of press. And these causes these walls to move. So you basically just have to go back and forth and figure out which one allows you to go progress throughout the path here. I think there might also be a secret area which I cannot figure out how to get to, which requires you to set these switches into a sort of configuration or whatever. But I doubt it's anything important, if there even is anything. I don't know, this place is just a mess, and honestly, I'm glad I don't have to deal with this thing anymore. As it is recording, I finished recording all the footage for the LP, for the story and such. So yeah. I'm a bit exhausted to be needless to say, and this place has done nothing to help me in that endeavor. Right, over there is our objective for the moment. And here we got another enemy. These guys are the defenders. They're like the big bodies and such. They're very tanky enemies with lots of HP. However, they're a lot more nastier since the shield can actually deal damage and cast spells. They're certainly a lot stronger enemies, and they can be very nasty to people who aren't very good at the game. I remember my first time around, these guys gave me serious amounts of trouble. The trick is just to use the wind spell in order to increase the defense. It's basically essential for dealing massive amounts of these enemies, to be honest. Anywho, I have to collect some more treasures because I don't want to go collect them later on. You're going to see that this area is massive. Like hella massive. And of course you can't open these things until you deal with these enemies. Which means you have to spam... Which means that at the moment we have to spam all the spells in the world in order to... Oh wonderful, that's the alarm. Well, I can deal with that later. Most professional LPing in the universe. Yeah. How did I edit this part out? Oh well. Anyway, so... we're just going back and proceeding with collecting treasures. These doohickeys allow us to pull out these various platforms so we can manage to get ourselves past easier. I think I could have just glided myself over to the other platform, but I figured, why not? And for our efforts, we get a single treasure chest. Which includes... a gummy piece, which you probably won't be having much need of. Oh, right. So, Beast is having problems with this platform, which is wonderful. Yep. Well, anyway, so enough of that. Let's actually proceed to the actual castle and get the plot on. Because I don't want to deal with this stupid wooden sword anymore.
on your guard. They're close, I can feel it. Are you ready for them? No?
Quit while you can.
No, not without Kyrie.
The darkness will destroy you.
You're wrong, Riko. The darkness may destroy my body, but it can't touch my heart. My heart will stay with my friends. It'll never die.
Really? Well, we'll just see about that.
Ah!
Sora ain't gonna go anywhere.
You'd betray your king?
Not on your life. But I'm not gonna betray Sora either, 'cause he's become one of my best buddies after all we've been through together. See you later, Donald. Could you tell the king I'm really sorry?
Hold on, Goofy! We'll tie them together! Well, you know, I'm for one and right for all.
I guess you're stuck with us, Sora.
Thanks a lot, Donald. Goofy.
How will you fight without a weapon?
I know now I don't need the Keyblade. I've got a better weapon. My heart!
Your heart? What good will that weak little thing do for you?
Although my heart may be weak, it's not alone. It's grown with each new experience, and it's found a home with all the friends I've made. I've become part of their heart just as they've become a part of mine. And if they think of me now and then, if they don't forget me, then our hearts will be one. I don't need a weapon. My friends are my power.
Well, thank goodness, I was not looking forward to fighting this guy with a freaking wooden bat. We got the Keyblade back, and now we have to fight Riko after... the beginning of the game? Yeah, basically. So he fights a bit similar to how we fought in Destiny Islands, which was forever ago. He's not... it's kinda tough, but at this point we have got a lot more abilities and healing and other such things to make this battle so much more easier. I admit, it's kinda refreshing to actually get to fight Riko again, like in this form. Especially since before I couldn't actually beat him. Being able to do so now is quite awesome in my opinion.
Not yet.
Guys, stop.
So, your heart won this battle.
And we finally got the last Trinity. White. Now this section is a bit weird. We're not really much going to have to fight enemies, as we are going to have to solve puzzles and use spells and magic. Excuse me as I go ahead and smash every single jar in the world. Sorry, I played a lot of Zelda in my past, so I guess I just have to smash every single breakable object in the world. But anyway, so beyond the door over there, behind all, is a sealed door which we have to unlock by doing certain things. First off, we have to go in here to the library. Now, the library, as you can notice, has a lot of books that are missing from the shelves. So we have to go all around the place, finding the books and putting them in their right spot in order to open up new areas of the library and get more goodies. So we're going to be here for a good chunk of time. And over here. Now those pillars with the weird window is actually something we can interact with later on. Although they're kind of tedium to deal with. And we have to use the Green Trinity in order to do something with the library here and complete it. I'll eventually cave in and switch to Donald Goofy just to get the Trinities out of the way. So beasts have to basically be being benched for a while after that. Anywho, that's the minimum you have to do in order to proceed with the library. However, I'm going to do some more because completionism. I probably won't be able to get a 100% completion. In fact, I will get a 100% completion. But I think from what I did, I actually did close enough. Now these things are tedious. You spin them around and you have a random chance of them actually proceeding one thing forward. So, in order to get the treasure that's in there, you have to just keep spinning until RNG favors you. It's tedious and it's just a waste of time. Now this area is also a bit odd. This is the place where you have to use all your spells and abilities. See the candles? You have to use the fire on them in order to light them up.
Fire! Fire!
So yeah, let's go and skip up. Now this one is a bit different, it just wants us to crush jars. I guess what I think I did in the beginning of this place was actually quite appropriate. Completing some of these objectives will net you items necessary in order to proceed, which are pieces of an emblem. And this one is a bit finicky, but you just have to push them like various boxes and boulders. Back to lighting stuff up, we get another piece of the emblem. And those thunderous things, we can activate them so they can lower the bridge, but that's pointless because we're gonna glide. Yeah, using thunder here lowers the bridges. Although a neat thing about them is that you can actually go down to the lower floor, so you can actually get back up without going through the library. Which is neat. Anyway, at this point, I went ahead and switched to Goofy and Donald so we can actually get all the Trinities done and over with. And yeah, this is what we're going to spend a good chunk of time is doing. Finding books, switching them around, placing them around, shuffling their library. Eventually getting all the treasures of this place. I think it's better just to get it out of the way beforehand. So we're just gonna have to deal with that a lot. Sorry for that, but it has to be done. And I just decided to edit out the whole shuffling so you can see the thing being obtained at one go. More books. I have no idea if the names of these books are any reference to Final Fantasy or Disney or whatever. I assume those be things in Final Fantasy since this is the world of Final Fantasy characters. That should be the last book, if I'm correct. Yes, there we go. Now we get access to our area, which is going to be stupendously tedious. First, yeah, this is going to take a while. Well, I think that one requires you to actually move it forwards 2 times in order to collect the treasure. Either that, or I was just being an idiot with editing, which is not too unlikely. And this should be the last one, I hope. AP up is always welcome. And welcome to the lift stop. You're going to be here for a long while. So the lift stops gets you to around these elevators, and this is the worst one yet. As I'm going to show you the entire sequence in its entirety. This is the longest one, and it's the longest by astronomical lengths. The other elevators are thankfully very brief and only takes like a second or two to get through. This one, no, you have to sit through this every time you want to go here. And even worse, there's another path you can take, which you can have to activate when you're going further up. So in order to get all the treasures, you have to ride this thing 4 times. 2 times up, 2 times down. I was an idiot if we got to pick up the treasure here, which I have to use gravity on, which I'll show you in the treasure downstairs. So I have to go through this thing more times than 4. Yippee!
See ya!
I can see there, this is how you obtain the treasures for the majority of this area. Whoop-de-doo. Another Trinity needed in order to progress with the game. There we go. I really don't like it when the game forces you to do these Trinity things. Oh yeah, for some reason you can slide down the railings, which is kind of cool, but it's really wonky, it doesn't really work that well. And the beast hid the emblem piece with his massive coat. Or cape, or whatever. Now here's where the emblem pieces need to go. Done. Now we can go into true hell of Hollow Bastion.
Why? It was mine.
Know this. The heart that is strong and true shall win the Keyblade.
What? You're saying my heart's weaker than his?
For that instant it was. However, you can become stronger. You showed no fear in stepping through the door to darkness. It held no terror for you. Plunge deeper into the darkness, and your heart will grow even stronger.
What should I do?
It's really quite simple. Open yourself to the darkness. That is all. Let your heart, your being, become darkness itself.
Well, that is not ominous at all. Anywho, I'll come back to the left stop. We're gonna be here a lot. And hello to another Guardian. Or Defender, excuse me. I'm sorry I cannot remember all of these enemies' clever names. Anyway. So yeah, in order to interact with these things, you have to be out of combat. This one takes you to an area where you can collect treasures. Of course, you have to go in here. Of course, there's some more enemies, but that's no worries. I'm going to be... Oh, I'm not going to cut it out because it actually was quite brief. Okay. Fine.
Goofy!
Actually, no. This just takes us back to the waterway, which allows us to get around to the place, the previous area if we wish to. Let's see if there's any point to do so. Oh yeah, so this is why I left it out. Our new upgraded wind spell actually allows us to deal damage when we walk into enemies, which is super handy actually. This allows us to basically stun lock them constantly, and there I messed up. Yeah, so if you step on the elevators, you just basically transport yourself through there. And her purpose of that thing was give us treasure, because they could just put a treasure chest in there. Go figure. So now we can actually go up back to the area over here from that point, which we visited before. Oh, and these are new enemies. These are wyverns. They're another flying enemy, which means they're super obnoxious because they like to fly to places where you can't reach them. But compared to other ones, they're not too obnoxious, but they're still pretty obnoxious. Yeah, they do drop a lot of HP orbs, so that's always useful if you need health. But yeah. Anywho, so now we can actually go upwards, which I think just allows us to get more treasure if I remember correctly. Again, it's been a while, so yeah, we're just here to get more treasure by casting gravity because the game really wants us to make use of that useless spell we have. So yeah, so I haven't really been using cottages at this point, so if you have been hoarding a lot of these stuff, you might as well go ahead and use them since... Oh, this area. This area. Here's a fun fact. If you fall off the ledge there, you gotta go to another area of the game. The one with the waterway and the platforms and such. So if you fall down there, you have to go all the way back. And because you were several rooms away, all the enemies will respawn. And because you can't activate these things with the enemies around, you have to make sure you don't fall down there, taking down the flying enemies. I've been here all more times than I necessarily should have because I kept falling down there because those wyverns keep making me fall. Anyway, that's all over now, so I just get to revisit the pain I had to suffer in the past. As you can imagine, this thing is totally not suspicious at all, which is why I didn't. Which is why I have recovered my health. Yeah, so obviously it's an ambush, and here's the ambush. So at this point I figured, hey, why don't we just give Dumbo a try and see if we can use clear out the enemies a lot faster. And for some reason I decided not to edit out the summoning sequence, so that's weird. And Dumbo has completely disappointed us. He deals no damage to these guys. I don't know why. I think maybe because they're magic and most magic attacks are not effective on them. So I just wasted a summoning, which is one thing completely wonderful. Well, that was very professional of me. I don't even know that Dumbo is actually that useful at all. I honestly don't know. I barely use summons. I think I mostly use Bambi because the MP drop is actually really useful. And then I use Tinkerbell because Tinkerbell is really good because of the health recovery, which you'd like to see later on. Actually, I don't think I actually showed off what Tinkerbell does yet. But we will soon enough. But I might have shown off. I don't remember. I can't be bothered to go look it up because I'm busy recording. Yippee! Not a treasure, not a trinity. Beautiful commentary because I'm running out of stuff to commentate about. More elevators of despair and red and lots of other wonderful things. I'm sorry I'm sounding very pouty, but this area was quite tedious to go through. Which doesn't help, you have to go through this area multiple times. At best 2 times, but for me, I have to go through multiple times. Now I think we're almost at the top now. We just have a couple more floors to go. But we have to deal with one more gimmick in order to proceed. Oh snap, I completely forgot. We actually had a new enemy to deal with. Those wizard guys, which are... Oh, they're actually called wizards. And yeah, those wizard guys... They cast spells, they can teleport. They're pretty obnoxious. And I think that's all of the enemies for this area. Yep. There are only really 2 new enemies of the Heartless. Well, 3 technically. But we can deal with that later. Let's see. Well, 2 and 1 has several variations, which the game indicates as separate entities, despite the fact it's just a reskin of a single boss. Because enemy design.
See ya!
Now, in order to proceed, we have to basically play around with the platform block over there and keep shifting it. Now, because I was a beautiful human being, I forgot to activate this thing, which prevented us from proceeding. But hey, I did find that chest that I almost missed. Goodness knows we can't forget all the treasures. We have to hoard everything in the world. And of course, right before we can proceed, the enemies have to spawn and prevent us from activating that thing. Oh, Kingdom Hearts. I can't wait for the later games where you can actually activate stuff and open your chest even if enemies are around. It's only this game that does it, which is... Yeah, I don't think I need to explain anything. Actually, I think this is the one where the game even threw a Mortic move, and yep, that enemy is below that surface and I cannot get down there without having to backtrack. Thanks, Kingdom Hearts! You're a fun game where you don't pull shit like this, but seriously, when you pull shit like this, it's fucking tedious as hell. And no, you can't cast spells, that doesn't work. They'll absorb it. It heals them. Which is probably why Dumbo didn't do anything against them. Anyway, after finally getting through with that, this thing allows us to switch that switch. You can collect this treasure. And finally, that switch over on the other side. Oh yeah, that allows us to get over here, basically. Alright. But yeah, let's proceed. Lot is beyond this door. Let's go.
So, I see the path has emerged at last.
Yes. The keyhole to the darkness.
Unlock it. And the Heartless will overrun this world.
What do I care? The darkness holds no power over me. Rather, I will use its power to rule all worlds.
Such confidence.
Oh. Ah! Impossible! The princesses of Heart are all here. It must be her.
Without her heart, she will never be able to release her power.
The king's fools are here. I'll deal with them myself. You stay here and guard the princesses.
Right, now we're in the home stretch. Soon we'll be done with this damned area.
I'm afraid you're too late. Any moment now, the final keyhole will be unsealed. This world will be plunged into darkness. It is unstoppable.
We'll stop it! After coming this far, there's no way we're gonna let that happen.
You poor, simple fools. You think you can defeat me? Me, the mistress of all evil!
And so we get to fight Maleficent. She's a big pushover. The best strategy is just to cast wind and just hammer at her as much as you can. She will summon defenders and she'll do this meteor strike attack. But as long as you got the wind spell, you should be able to survive it, no problem. There's not really much to say about this, just... Yeah, we're almost done now. And there we go. Well, we're over 40 minutes, so we'll have to cut it here and we'll continue on next time. See you then.